So let's start with recording some of our apps that we've been talking about. And though before we start that, I just wanted to quickly show you that I'm using a really good program called Reflector, and I've downloaded this program onto my computer, and then I can go to my iPad. So what you're seeing right now is my iPad. So then I go to where I have my music section. You used to have to slide to the right, you now just slide down, and it comes up with this little section here. And you can see here, Karina HP. So when I tap on that, I can then mirror exactly what's on my iPad on my computer. It's a really great program for being able to show what iPads look like and iPad applications look like, and then to be able to record them using Camtasia. Because there isn't a screencasting application at the moment that directly screencasts applications on the iPad. I wish they would create one, but they haven't created one yet. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So the first app we're going to look at, and I'm going to search for it. So now we have to slide down to search for anything that we want to find on our iPad, and that's the best way to find apps that you're looking for. I've got over 400 apps, probably more, and be wary, app addiction is a real thing, so just be a little bit careful. Obviously, because I do teach and demonstrate how to use applications, I have to download quite a lot of them and trial them out and see what they're like, etc. So I happen to have quite a lot of iPad apps. So when I'm looking for them, it can get a little bit tricky. We're going to an app called StripDesigner first. In the first section of this course, I've not only provided you with the app icon so that you know what you're looking for, but I've also linked all the apps to the App Store as well, so that you can easily find them for yourself. So let's just type in StripDesigner in the search bar. Since the ISO 7 update, you now need to slide downwards to find that search bar, and then you type in the app that you would like to find and press search. So there it is right there. Now StripDesigner, I believe, is probably one of the best writing comic style apps for students that's on the market. As I go from one part of the iPad to the next, you may have noticed that there was a flicker. Unfortunately, that is a problem with the Reflector program recording, or actually let me say it around the other way. That is a problem with Camtasia recording with the Reflector program running as well. When there is that transition from one part of the app to the next, occasionally it will flicker. As I said before, I believe that Reflector is really worth using, and it's one of the best ways that we can record the iPad screen at the moment. So I think it's worth persevering. So please just excuse those flickers and just know that it has nothing to do with the actual iPad itself. It's just that Camtasia over the top of Reflector, over the top of the main, the main frame of the computer is causing a problem. So StripDesign is literally a writing application, but it also has the benefit of being able to add in pictures, little stamps, comic type sayings, headings. You can use different types of frames. It is a really good application. I've created this little StripDesign for you so that you can see the various things that you can actually do with this app. So if we have a look at the front page, we can include a picture, there's a heading, and then we'll go to the second page. And here we have a little speech bubble, a pinned note. We can put in maps if we want to. We can do different colors around our frames. Let's go to the next one. Again, just a different variation of putting in a notepad that we can do some writing on. So this app is perfect for those projects, assignments, homework projects, anything like that. If you've been on an excursion somewhere, you can come back and use your photos and do some really good writing and research about the places that you went to. If you're wanting to do a geography assignment, you can, this particular project is about a place called Phillip Island, which is in Victoria, Australia, which is where I'm from. So this could be a really good, geography assignment. So let's find out all the things that makes Phillip Island special. And Phillip Island happens to be a really well-known tourist destination. It's well known for its fairy penguin parade, and it's surfing and it's fishing, and it's beautiful. I used to live there actually, I don't anymore. So let's have a look here. We can pop in arrows. Here's the little stamps and stickers that I was talking about, headings, and again we can do circular notes. There's lots of these kinds of things, zoom, crash, bang, which makes it kind of comic looking, another kind of speech bubble, a different kind of heading, and again a place to put our notes. So I'm going to zip through these a little bit so you can just have a look at them. Just makes it really interesting. These are the beautiful fairy penguins, and they do come off from the water, and they are just adorable. If you ever come to Australia, it's a must to come and see these little guys. They're amazing. So here we can actually have the picture and put the writing over the top of the picture for a different kind of look altogether. And this would be for the older writers. I think it makes it look quite professional and almost like a book. Style again. Here is where we're just showing pictures, which makes it again look really interesting. And I've just popped a little title in there saying other attractions. Very simple. And finally, something similar again. The other thing that Phillip Island is famous for is the motorcycle Grand Prix, if you're into that kind of thing. Okay, so let's go back to my comics. I'm going to show you how amazing this application is. So all of these sections here have a range of templates in them. So you can see here there are 10 to 20 different types of templates depending on how many photos that you have. You can also, if you have a look down the bottom here, it says any, you can pop in if you only want to use one photo, and it gives you all the templates with only one photo. If you have 2 photos, 3 and 4 photos. Some templates give you the option of more than 4, but this particular one doesn't. So let's go back here and have a look at a different template style. And so this is one of the ones where you can actually put in 9 photos if you wanted to. So go back to create new. This is probably one of my favourite ones. I tend to use this a lot. It has this old photo, the old photos, the strip look. And then also the pages can look a little bit grungy as well, which is what I kind of like that look. We've got film and embossed. And again, this is the old strip look, which is quite interesting. So I'm going to actually open this one here and show you how easy it is to create a strip design. So the first thing we're going to do is add a photo, and you can see there are lots of options. You can add a photo from your photo album, you can do a drawing, and I will show you that in a minute. You could take a photo directly from the camera, wherever you may be. You can go to Facebook if you have that option. You can go to Dropbox, and you can also use a map. Now this is one of the fantastic things about this, and I will show you in a minute how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do though is go to photo album, and one of my students is fascinated with the movie Planes at the moment, so what I'm going to do is just pop in one of those pictures. Just another little heads up that while we're using Reflector, you can't see me using my fingers to touch and use the multitask gestures that are unique to the iPad. So one of the things I will say a fair bit in most of the apps is that you can either expand the photos or make them smaller. And how we do that is by using what's called the pinch to expand technique. And this diagram just gives you a little bit of an idea of how to do that. You literally use your finger and your thumb to bring a photo in smaller, and then separate your finger and thumb out further, as you can see by the arrows, to make a photo bigger. So I hope that explains that for you. So whenever I talk about making something bigger or making something smaller, just know that this is what I'm actually doing. And I can make that picture a little bit smaller so that it fits in there. Is to fill up that space. I'll show you what I can do with that in a moment, but let's just fill up the boxes first. So then we can add another photo, and this time I'll add a drawing. And we can change the brush size, we can change the type of brush that we're using. So I might use this one, and then we'll change the colour to a blue. Love planes. Let's just say we can do a heart if we want to as well. So we're going to save that. And then that will pop that into that box there. Now I can make it a little bit smaller to fit in. Maybe a little bit smaller over this way. Okay, now let's go to the next photo. Now this is where we could also, if we wanted to, we can add one of the characters. So there it is there. So now I'm going to make it look a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to add a heading. So there's all of these headings down here you can have a look and see. So I'm just going to use this one here. And I can make that, oops, I've got to be careful. I can make that bigger. That little yellow arrow there means I can go from side to side. Now I can double tap that and change. This is where I'm going to get some of that flickering, so just mind that for the moment. And I'm going to write my favourite movie. And press done. Now I can also, I can change the colour of my writing, so let's just make it look a little bit closer to what the rest of the picture is. I might actually do blue, I think. There we go. And then I can move this over to here, and that fills that spot there. So I'm happy with that. So I'm also now going to add a sticker. So I'm going to go to effects, and as you can see there's lots of different stickers here. You can go exclamations, you can add in hands if you want to. I don't know why we'd want to here, but we're not going to do that. Moving objects, so I might just add a plane in here because we are talking about planes. Sorry about that flickering. And pop that in there. So I actually might pop that in there down the bottom. That looks a little bit better down there, I think. Make it a bit bigger again. And I'm going to add a sticker as well. Let's do an exclamation. Maybe wow. And I might pop the wow over there. As you can see, I can make it quite big. And I can even move it around a little bit. So there we go. Then I can come up to here and share. It does take a little bit of some time to share, and I can press that arrow and I can email as a PDF, add to photo album, post to Facebook, tweet on Twitter, upload to Dropbox, print if I want, or just send to the photo app. Now I'm not going to choose any for the moment. Actually no, I might just add to photo album. So let's just do that so that we go through that process. You'll see how easy it is. And we'll press OK. And there we go back. So I'm going to go back to my the same style or template. And because I want to show you something else that you can do with this application, that it makes it really interesting. So I'm going to add a photo again. I'm just going to do a background. So I'm going to use this heading, one of these headings. So let's just use that one. Then I'm going to add a sticker. Now, with your stickers, you can create, if you have a look here, it says create your own sticker. And I've actually already created this previously, but I want to show you how to do it. So I'm going to add a sticker from my photos. I'm going to go back to my camera roll because I'm going to get this little plane. And what I can do is take out, so I can go up here and make my size a little bit bigger so it makes it easier to do. Don't make it too big because then it takes out too many of the pixels. So then I'm going to go here and take all of that background out. Now, as I said, I've already actually done this. And you have to make sure that you get all the pixels out, otherwise you can see them once you've saved. So I've already done this, so let's just pretend that I have done that one, and we'll just take that one out for a minute, and we're going to add a sticker that I've created previously. So there it is there. Now I can make that bigger, and I can pop that down so that it looks like it's coming off the screen a little bit. Your students can do stickers of themselves, of their friends, of their favourite things that they like, so they can take photos and create a sticker from that. And then it can become a really personalised writing application. I just think it's fantastic, and the kids really love using that sticker section or that sticker element of this particular application. So let's go back to my comics. Now, one of the things I hadn't done was named it. So I can go into that and change the name. So I'm going to change it just to Planes. Done. And there you go. I can go back and find it at any time. So I hope you can see the benefit of using the application StripDesign, and how that there are many ways that you can use this in your classroom. And I've just named a couple of them. In a minute, we're going to go back to our PowerPoint presentation, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other ways that you could use this application and for what kind of students that you could use them for as well. So thank you, and let's keep going. I'm back again because I realised that I didn't show you the map section. So I want to create a new template. I'm going to choose one that just has one photo in it, and we'll just make that a little bit bigger so that you can see. And we're going to add photo. Now this time I'm going to choose map. The only small problem with this is that you can't actually type in the name of the place that you would like to go to. You do have to make the map bigger. So I'm going to go to Phillip Island, which was the original project that we were doing in the first place. And Phillip Island is right over here. You can see this, sorry about it flickering again, you can see this little peninsula here, and this is at Phillip Island right there. I'm going to make that bigger again, and hopefully it will start to give me, there we go, you can see the name Phillip Island. So once I'm happy with that and I like where it's sitting, I could bring it out a little bit more so you could see where it's sitting on the Melbourne and Victoria Peninsula, but I do want to see the name Phillip Island. So I'm going to click done. Oh, the other thing I forgot to say as well is that you can have a satellite view or a hybrid view. There we go. So now it's imported that photo. So what I could do as well is add other stickers. So I'm going to go to my speech bubbles, or I could use an arrow if I wanted to, which actually I might do that. And then I will move my arrow to where the penguins arrive. So I'm going to go here, and then I might tap to change. Penguins arrive here. Now it looks a little bit bland, and I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to change the colour to a nice green, or maybe a lighter green so you can see. If I wanted to, I can change the colour of the text as well, and the border I might make an orange. So there we go. Now I could also add a sticker. We might put hello there to make it a little bit more interesting, and that's that done. So there's another picture again with your map straight from Google Maps, and I just think it's a really good element for your projects that you can include in, especially your geography or your history projects. You can go anywhere in the world and add a map of that place or the country or the city. So imagine if you were doing a history project on a particular city, if you were doing Washington, for example, you could easily go to a map of Washington and have that showing in your StripDesign picture there. So it is a fantastic element to this particular application. Okay, so let's move on. As promised, I'm going to just talk a little bit about how we can use StripDesign in the classroom. I'm going to give you a few more practical ideas. So for your students, they could definitely use this for their creative story writing, and it just makes it more interesting because they can add photos, they can add captions, they can have little speech bubbles, and it just makes it a much more interesting and fun experience. Especially for those kids who are reluctant writers. They will have a better experience because they can use a whole lot of other materials, and they're not so daunted by just having to produce a piece of writing. Then of course we have the obvious, which is making comic strips. I think your students can have a whole lot of fun because there is a myriad of ways that you can create comic strips using the app StripDesign. You can also use this app for students if you've been on an excursion or after your holiday period. It's another great way that they can use their photos, and especially because of that map aspect to it, you can easily find the map of where they have been or where you went on an excursion, and it makes it so that it is cross-thematic then. So you're bringing social studies, you're bringing geography, as well as writing and creative writing as well. So it just makes it more interesting. Daily diaries with a difference. So every day they could take a photo and they could write something, or they could use the speech bubble. You could get them to do humorous writing. Today we're going to do something funny in our diaries. Next week you could have it where it's more serious. Write something about a news report that you saw that you found interesting. It's up to you. You could have so much fun with this, and it's really up to your imagination. Humorous writing, of course, goes without saying. Social study reports. So again, the photo aspect of it just does lend itself to social studies, project writing, research writing, anything like that. Yeah, you can add photo, text, maps, speech bubbles, captions. The list is endless. Geography reports. So let's say that you are studying a particular country. You could have a map of the country. You could then have various maps of different locations in that country. You could use the satellite map and compare satellite to the hybrid map, to the other map, to the topographical map. You could then compare those and talk about that. You could find the capital city and add in the flags and anything else that's important. You could get the students to then Google what is the agriculture for the area. As I said, it's up to your imagination of how great you can actually make these presentations. Using photos for non-fiction writing. So let's say we're researching a historical figure. Let's say it's Abraham Lincoln, for example. Your students could look up Abraham Lincoln, where is he from? Again, using the map feature. They could do some drawings as well. They could then find a timeline and include a timeline in one of those strip design pictures, because remember that we can add more pages to that strip designer, so we can make it as big as we want it to. So moving on, teachers, you could create worksheets with a difference, and really it's up to your imagination, creativity and resourcefulness and how great you can actually make those worksheets. Quizzes, it would be a really fun way to present quizzes to your student. You could say something like, who said this in history, and provide a space for them to pop a picture rather than words, or you could have the picture and words. A picture and word match for your younger students, close activities, worksheets using quotes. So coming back to that idea of historical figures, so you could have quotes and you could even blank out some of the words in that quote, and one, they have to find what are the missing words, and two, who is that person in history. You could even have pictures of 4 people and they need to choose which person said that particular quote. Geography match, you could have a map and a flag and they could match the map and the flag together, or a map and the name of the particular location. Using photos for non-fiction writing. So this is an interesting one. So let's say, for example, you are doing a study in nature. So you could have your pictures of particular plants that are in your area. The students would need to find the scientific name for those plants or those flowers, and they would need to research and find photos, or they can go out and take the photos themselves and then come back and again using Google try to find the name of what those plants are. Then they can find the generic name. And again, how did that plant originate? Is it native to that particular area, or was it brought in by someone else or by another culture? For example, the gum tree in the US. I was really surprised when I was traveling over there to see, particularly in California, there are quite a few gum trees. And gum trees are native to Australia, my home country. I asked around and found out that a lot of the winemakers and farmers brought over the gum trees and planted them in the California area. And given the climate, the gum tree suits California perfectly. So they're just a few ways that you can use a strip design in the classroom.